20 minutes of power.
Welcome to 30 Minutes of Power, a podcast
Hey Ryder,
dedicated
what's going
to
on?
educate,
Now, before we get
encourage,
into
and
today's
inspire
episode, I have a
godly
question for
people
you.
to use
How
their power
long
to
have you
empower
been
others.
sitting
Join
on
your
that
host,
book idea?
Jori O'Neale,
If
and
you're
Nicole
tired
Salter
of
as they
thinking
share
about
powerful
it and
insights
ready to actually
on how
make
you
progress,
can use your
then
God-given
join me the
talents
last
and gifts
Sunday
to make a
every
positive
month
impact
for my
in the
live
world.
writing masterclass. Now, this isn't just another class. It's an interactive space.
Welcome back,
where
people,
you
to another
finally
lovely
gain
episode
clarity
of 30 Minutes
on your
of Power,
book
TOP,
and take
your
it from
one-stop shop for all
ideation
things
to
encouraging,
implementation.
entertaining,
And as a
and
bonus,
motivating.
when you
Today,
register,
listen,
you get a 20-minute
I
coaching
have
call
with me
one-on-one.
not
That's
a
right,
competitor,
with me
but a friend
about
in
your
the
book.
indie author
So
space.
spots are limited,
Michele
so please click the
DeFilippo.
link below
Oh,
or go to the
I
show
messed it
notes
up,
and scan
but
the
it's
QR
okay.
code to sign up. Let's
DeFilippo.
get that book out of
That's
your
good.
head.
All
and
right,
onto the page.
we're gonna
I'll see you
redo
there.
that one on the editor side. So
Now,
when you
real
get this,
quick,
just
I want to take
fix
some time
that.
and talk
That'd be
to
great.
my
All right,
aspiring
awesome.
authors.
We're
If
gonna
you've
keep
ever
on
said,
moving forward.
I want to write
But
a
I'm
book,
super
but
excited to
don't
have
know
her
where to
with
start.
us today.
Listen up.
Michele
I'm
has
hosting a
helped over
live
4,000.
masterclass this
I'm
Sunday.
gonna say that again, so that you
Nope.
understand the
I
magnitude
don't
of
like
her
it.
greatness.
Let's try again.
4,000 authors publish and do it well.
All right, now real
and we
quick,
are super
I want to
blessed
talk
to
to
have
my
her on the show
aspiring
today.
authors here
Michele,
today.
thank you so
If you've
much for
ever
joining
said,
us and
I
blessing
want
us
to
with
write
your
a book,
time.
but I don't
Welcome
know
to
where
the
to
show.
start.
Thank
Then
you so
listen
much,
up.
Jori. I'm
hosting
so
a
glad we're
live
doing the
writing
same thing.
masterclass
There are no
this
competitors when
Sunday,
it comes to
and this is your
producing good
opportunity
books
to
because
stop
there's plenty of
waiting
work
and start
available
writing.
for all of
In
us.
this session, we're going to
The
map out your
important thing
book
is
and
that
get
we do the
crystal
right
clear
thing by the
on your
authors we serve.
specific message.
Amen. I
You're going to
love
take the
that.
first
So
step
I want
toward
to start
making your
off with
book
what
a reality.
inspired you to
So
do
if you're
this work.
ready to
I've
invest
spent
in your
probably the
dream and
last 2
finally take
years sharing
action,
with everybody
then head over
how
to
I got into this space, how I stumbled upon storytelling in my youth, and how it has not left me.
Click
But
the link below in the
what
show
inspires
notes,
you to
and I'll
become
see you
the
inside.
champion for self-publishing authors?
Well, I've been in the business for 52 years now, and I got into publishing entirely by accident. I wish I could tell you I had a plan and all of that, but I was going on interviews after college, and Crown Publishers in New York was the first place that gave me a job. And so I said yes, and that's how I got into publishing. But I loved it from the very beginning. And then just, I worked in a variety of aspects of publishing. In 1980, I started a typesetting business, and we worked for publishers and magazines and so forth. A lot of businesses too. We would do annual reports, and then the Macintosh was invented, and it put my typesetting business out of business along with everyone else who did typesetting. So I just had to pivot and move on to something else. And I happened, again, another
go sit down
accident.
and
I
read a
went to a
book.
meeting of the Arizona Book Publishing Association
Read a different book.
and found out that there was a local group that focused on the new thing of independent publishing at the time. That was
Rachel,
around
read a
2001
book.
when Amazon came on the scene. All of a sudden, it was possible for authors to get their books distributed to the public through Amazon without any publisher giving them permission or changing their work in any
All right,
way. And
before
that
we wrap
was
up today,
the
I
greatest
want to
thing
remind you, if a
anybody
book
had
is
ever
on
heard
your
of,
heart,
right?
then this Sunday
But
is your
you know,
chance
the
to
field has
finally
gotten
take that first
complicated
step.
in the last 20
Join me
years
for
or
a
so,
live
and
writing
then I
masterclass, and we'll break
sort of
down
got
the
into
book
a new
writing
mission, which
process
is to help
and get you
authors
moving
understand
forward
that
from
not all the
idea
options
to
they're going to
execution.
find online are
I'm
beneficial to
excited
them.
for you.
And that's why I
I
started
don't want
doing
you to
these
miss this.
podcasts.
So head over
I
to
love that. So you've helped over 4,000 people publish like the pros.
story
What's
matter.
one story, a
Or
moment
check the
that
link
gives you
in the show
goosebumps
notes.
or
See you
reminds
soon.
you why this work matters so much?
We have been
Welcome
so
to 30 Minutes
blessed
of
to
Power,
help so
the
many
podcast
authors.
where you get
Probably
inspired, challenged, and empowered to
we've
move
done
forward.
textbooks that
This
are
podcast is for
500
anyone feeling
pages
stuck
and
and
have
needing a push to
150
move forward,
charts
whether
and
you're a writer,
graphs.
a parent, or
We've
growing in
served
your walk with
historians,
God.
most
Here,
recently
we
Alan
believe in being
Saltman,
empowered people
who
using your
writes
power to empower
the history
others.
of World War
Get
II.
ready for
We're
honest
on our
conversations,
second book for
practical
him
advice,
now.
and the spiritual boost you need
We've helped
to reclaim
business
your power
owners
and change your life.
create
So grab your
small
favorite drink,
to large
take a deep breath,
publications that
and
help
let's
bring
ignite the
business
power
into
within.
their world, bring speaking engagements and so forth. So the variety is absolutely amazing. We've done poetry books, children's books, novels, memoirs,
Welcome to
everything.
30 Minutes of Power
I
with your
love
host,
that. And
Jori
so
O'Neale and Nicole
you say
Salter.
that self-publishing
Whether you're feeling
means that
stuck
the
in writing,
author
parenting,
is
or
the
your walk with
publisher.
God,
But most people
we're
still
here
think
to
that they
help you
need to
break
give
through those
away
barriers.
their rights. Why
We
is this
believe in
myth
being
so
empowered
hard to
people
shake?
using
Do you
your
think
power
still
to empower
24
others.
years
Get ready for
after
honest
self-publishing
conversations,
began?
practical advice,
Well,
and the
that's the
spiritual boost you
terrible
need
thing,
to
right?
reclaim
Because
your
it's
power and change your life.
it all
So
comes
grab your
down to
favorite
being
drink,
found on
take a
Google.
deep breath,
and let's
So,
ignite the power
and there
within.
is a desire on the part of
Thank you
authors.
for
They think they
joining us
need a
for 30
publisher,
minutes of
but they
power.
are
We
not
hope today's
understanding that they
episode
can
inspired you to take
self-publish
action
now
and make a positive
without a
change
publisher
in your
taking
life.
control of
If you
their
found
book.
value in
But
this
they're
conversation,
more likely
share
to
with someone
find
who could
these
use a little empowering
self-publishing
today.
companies
We'd love
online
to hear from
because
you. Connect with us
they
on
have the
Instagram at
budget
30
to
Minutes of
dominate
Power
the
or
search
email
engines.
us at
And smaller companies like mine
azironshoppingsIron at
just can't
gmail.com.
compete with
Until
that.
next
It's very
time, keep
difficult
stepping
to
into
be
your
found.
power
But
and
I
empowering
think we
others.
really have the
Stay
better
strong,
story
stay
because we
empowered,
want authors to keep control
moving
of their
forward.
book and always earn the maximum amount of
Thanks
money
for tuning
possible
in
every
to
time
30
they
Minutes
sell a
of
book.
Power. We hope you feeling Love that. inspired and ready to That's move why I forward. got into
Remember,
this.
your power
And
is
it
meant
wasn't
to
even
empower others.
me
Share this
looking
episode
for
with
another
someone
job.
who needs
Like
encouragement today.
I've
Connect with
lived
us on
a life where
Instagram
I've
at
had to
30
have
Minutes
4
of
jobs
Power
just
or
to
shoot
keep
us an
afloat
email
in New York.
at azironshoppingsIron
But I was
at
content with the
gmail.com.
one job.
Until next time,
And
stay
while I was
empowered
talking,
and keep
I was giving
empowering
a speech
others.
at a Women's Day, and I was sharing about the
Thanks
process
for
of writing
tuning in
my
to
book
30
and
Minutes
how
of Power.
empowering it was.
We hope today's
to have
episode
it
inspired
now
you to
out
take
of my
action
body,
and
out
make
of
a
my
positive
head,
change
and into
in
the
your
hands
life.
of other people.
Remember,
who was
your
actually
power
helping.
is meant to
One young
empower
lady
others.
got my book
So share
the
this
night
episode
prior
with someone
by
who needs
accident. She
encouragement
stayed at a
today.
friend's house, got my
We'd
book,
love to hear from you.
read the
So
entire
connect with
thing
us on
that
Instagram
night.
at 30 Minutes of
Came
Power
to the
or
came
email
to the
us at
conference.
azironshoppingsIron at
Sought after me
gmail.com.
after the
Until next time,
conference was
stay
over
empowered and
and
keep
said,
empowering others.
teach me how to do what you did. And I was like, okay, I am a teacher. Yes, okay. But like, this is a stumbling. I was like, listen, I don't know what this is going to look like. So let's just meet on Zoom for a while and we'll figure it out. And here we are 3 years later, helping children's authors, helping individuals who have this giftedness. One woman, she was teaching young children with autism. She's potty training them. And people were very like, how are you doing that? I've tried so hard to, train my child potty training. And so she's like, I can't meet all the needs of all these people who are asking me for advice on how to, the one necessary thing, right? This act of independent living for a young person to be able to go to the bathroom. And so she was like, I need to write a book about this. She sought me out. She wrote the book, and now she's getting, checks from Amazon, checks from Drafted Digit. She's like, I just got another check. This is amazing. I'm like, yes, you got that check. It didn't go to anyone else. It went to you.
That is the key point. And what people don't understand is if they work with a quote unquote publisher, the publisher gets the sales reports, gets the bank deposits, and gives the author a small portion of the money they should be making every time they sell a book. So your message and my message is the same thing. And I hope we can reach more authors and help them understand. Now, I think sometimes with the best of intentions, of course, authors know they need services. They know they need editing and design and ebook formatting and proofreading and all the rest to make a good book. So the message is you don't need to go to a publisher for that. There's an army of people like us who can manage that project for you, make sure that the vendors are qualified and reliable. If you go out to Fiverr or something like that, you don't know who you're hiring. You may or may not find someone who knows what they're doing. Of course, some do, but we get calls from authors all the time. My files won't upload, and now the person I hired on Fiverr is not answering my emails. So there's a lot of danger if you try to do it yourself and you don't have any experience in the field. So you and I offer that experience. We can help them do it seamlessly and correctly so that everything is, once it's set up, it's all on autopilot and they don't have to worry about it.
So for someone new to publishing, what's the biggest trap or mistake to avoid early on?
There are some. I think the first and biggest mistake is not to sign up with anybody who calls himself a publisher. So there are a couple of red flags that you can spot that tells you that you may be thinking about working with the wrong person. The first red flag is that they're going to give you a free ISBN. That ISBN is not free. It's one of their ISBNs. The ISBN identifies the publisher and the title. So you think you're saving money, but you're not. You're handing control over to that other company, and they are becoming the publisher of your book. You should always buy your ISBNs yourself directly from Bowker, and we can help authors do that at a discount. But regardless, you should always buy the ISBNs yourself so that you are the registered publisher of your book. The other red flag is anyone who promises to pay you in royalties. a company. Now, KDP uses the word royalty, and that's all right because they're not taking a portion of your revenue. They just call it a royalty. But publishing companies will call it a royalty, but that's not the full compensation that they're getting paid for your book. It's something less. Now, I don't know how far to go here. On a $20 book, the net to the author should be $5 to $7 roughly, right? Some of these publishing companies are paying the authors $1 or $2 per book. So that's a really big difference and adds up over time. So they may attract you into their world with lower upfront prices, but they're getting paid forever every time you sell a book. So you could wind up actually paying more than you think you're paying when you talk to them.
So in terms of editing, I just finished, well, I'm in the process of tidying up my next book. And when I was sharing with someone, I said, yeah, I'm going to send it out to beta readers. And then after I send it out to beta readers, then I'm going to adjust maybe depending on some feedback. And then I'm going to send it to my first round of editing. The person I was talking to was like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because even though I wrote the book, it's not for me. Like it's for the people that I'm trying to encourage or entertain or educate, right? Like I need to know, is this going to land? Before I spend money on editing, I need to know, is this book marketable? So what is one of the things that you find when people come to you and say, hey, I just need editing services, when you know that they may need so much more?
Well, yeah, people don't generally know what the workflow is in traditional publishing, but I can tell you from my experience, manuscripts are edited multiple times, oftentimes first by a developmental editor, then a line editor, then a copy editor, and then a proofreader, which is usually done after the pages are formatted. But there's quality control at every step, and that's why I tell people, go to a bookstore, start looking at books from major publishers. You will see the difference if you look at it objectively compared to any do-it-yourself product. You need that objective eye of an editor because we can't see the mistakes we've made. It's just not possible because we know what we mean to say, but that doesn't mean it came across to someone who's reading that sentence or that paragraph for the first time. So you have to work with an editor, absolutely.
So I want to talk about money for a little bit, and this is a sore subject for a lot of people. To talk about the realistic cost of publishing a book of professional quality, because you can publish. Listen, I've seen some, I've bought some, I've been duped into having some put in bags at women's conferences. You can publish anything.
Oh yeah, nobody's going to stop you.
But it doesn't mean it's professional.
Right.
So what are some, I want to say, how do we dispel the myths and or demystify some of the fears that come with the upfront cost of self-publishing? So
well, there is an upfront cost, just like there's an upfront cost to produce anything in a quality manner, right? We can always find junk online, but I try to tell my customers, think about how you feel when you spend your hard-earned money and you get junk. It's not the right way to put out a product. It doesn't respect your customer. It doesn't respect you because you're putting your work out there. Don't you want it to be the best it can be? And that is expensive because hours and hours and hours are spent on editing, cover design, interior design, the page design and the page layout, the proofreading, the ebook, everything. We probably spend 100 hours on a book before it's done, right? If not more. And then there's revisions all along the way. So that does cost money. But the result is a book that looks like it was published by a major publisher. It doesn't look like a self-published book. It doesn't read like a self-published book. And I don't know. I think, putting a lot of junk on the market, yes, it's freedom. And in that sense, it's good. But I think people, in some instances, can't trust books like they used to. With all of their faults, traditional publishers always put out a good book. And you could count on that. If you spent $15 or $20 on that book, you knew you were going to get a good product, but that's not true anymore.
So an author, when they're writing their book, how do they balance, regardless of the genre, how do they balance this idea of creativity with market expectations?
Well, ideally, they should begin by looking at the market before they start writing. Okay. Not after, because you can write the book you want to write and then find out that no one else is interested in it. That would be awful, right? After all the hours. So for nonfiction authors, I say you should go out and start looking for some burning problem that a lot of people have. And if you have the answer to that problem, then you can write a book that has a better chance to sell than if you just get a bright idea.
All right, I want to do something that I'm trying something new with this podcast. I have a list of rapid fire questions, and I can only ask these questions to an individual who's had the career that you've had, and
Uh-oh.
who's brave enough to write a book called Publish Like the Pros. Most underrated book publishing service.
I'm not sure I understand.
The book publishing service that usually gets overlooked, but is so necessary when publishing.
Oh, that today you've got people thinking they can format their pages in Word or Vellum or Atticus or whatever other program they stumble across, but that is not book typesetting. Book typesetting is a meticulous process where a trained book designer looks at every word, every line, every paragraph, every margin, every header, footer, and there's dozens and dozens of rules to follow to typeset a book well. And that's what we do. And that's also takes a lot of time, and it can be pretty tedious at times, but it's necessary for reading comprehension. Because if your reader is stumbling over poor spacing or any of the other rules that are not followed, they're not focused on your message. And that has been actually clinically proven.
What is one sign that an author is ready to publish?
When they can't stand to look at the manuscript one more time. I hear that all the time. I can't look at this one more time. I got to turn it over to somebody who can make it better. I'm done.
What is the biggest myth about self-publishing?
One of the biggest myths, you'll find companies out there who promise you a bestseller, and they will promise you that your book will be in what they call in bookstores nationwide. It's never going to be a bestseller. What they're doing is tricking Amazon's algorithm. So you'll be a bestseller for 30 minutes. And if you want, you can run off and pretend that you're a bestseller, but that's not going to happen. The other thing is in bookstores nationwide does not mean on the shelf in bookstores nationwide. It means your book is in the Ingram database, and a bookstore, if they want to, can order it. So yeah, those two.
Top publishing advice in one sentence.
Do the job well. You will know it's a great job. Your customers will know it's a great job, and it's the right thing to do.
Okay, for the aspiring author who is sitting on their manuscript, afraid of the unknown, I don't know what needs to change, I don't know how to make it better, what words of encouragement do you have to get them to take the next step?
Any book can be fixed. Any manuscript can be fixed. This is what the specialists in the industry do. So at the same time, I would say I can't promise anybody sales. Even major publishers can't promise sales. Once you put it out in the market is fickle. We don't know what they're going to respond to. But the answer to that is not to put out a cheaply made or poor quality book. The answer to that is to put out the best book you possibly can. Then you know you did everything you could to make it a potential success, and the rest is up to God.
I love that response. Michele, thank you so much for blessing us and spending time with us today at 30 Minutes of Power. We are so encouraged about the work that you're doing for indie authors, and we pray that God continues to uphold your hand as you uphold these authors in sharing their stories and getting them out properly, like a professional, into the marketplace. Listen, people, Michele is a very gracious human being. We're going to put in the show notes a link where you can go to her website and download a free downloadable. And if you are so lucky, maybe you too can publish like a pro Browse her website and find out all the services that her wonderful company provides. This is 30 Minutes of Power. Be an empowered person using your power to empower others. Till next time, people. Peace. Hey, Ryder, what's going on? I have a question for you. How long have you been sitting on that book idea? If you're tired of thinking about it and ready to actually make progress, then join me the last Sunday of every month for my live writing masterclass. Now, this isn't just another class. It's an interactive space where you finally gain clarity on your book and take it from ideation to implementation. And as a bonus, when you register, you'll get a 20-minute coaching call one-on-one, that's right, with me about your book. So spots are limited, so please click the link below or go to the show notes and scan the QR code to sign up. Let's get that book out of your head and onto the page. I'll see you there.
Thank you for tuning in to 30 Minutes of Power. We hope you found today's episode informative and inspiring. To stay connected with us and continue the conversation, follow us on Instagram at 30 Minutes of Power or email us at azironsharpensiron@gmail.com. Don't forget to visit our website at azisi.org to learn more about our mission and how you can get involved. Remember, your power can make a difference in the world. Let's be folks out there using our power to empower others.
30 minutes of power.